What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Above the Ice and Into the Numbers. I'm David D'Amico. Yes, all three of us are finally on an episode together. It's happening. I'm here with Julian and Christian. How you guys feeling this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a good Leaf win last night, so pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm here too. Me and Julian are sharing a mic, so this might get a little uncomfortable, but yeah, I'm ready to talk about the game last night.
Just getting closer as a group, boys. That's what you got to do, right? We're developing together.
So
You guys want to kick it off? We'll discuss a little Flyers Leafs really quickly, and then we'll get into the Kings Leafs.
all right,
Sound
perfect. Yeah,
I mean, if we do go back to the game on Saturday, I thought, first of all, the Leafs did not play a great game.
Oh, no, for definitely not.
Not
yeah.
a good game at all.
Yeah.
Well, they went on that 10-1 shot run to begin the period against a tired Flyers team that has, a defense that's abysmal. And then throughout the game, they got outshot, 36 to 14?
Yeah, something like
That's
that.
atrocious.
Yeah, what I noticed was the first period was going good, and then we took that too many men on the ice penalty, and then that's when the game shifted. After that, we just couldn't get in the zone.
Yeah.
and
Way too many penalties as well.
That's-
Taking like 4 straight penalties before the Flyers even took one.
yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, I'll even when you get to the third period, I remember when you bring up the shots, it was like Flyers were close to 40. And then after that, the Leafs only had 24 going into overtime.
Yeah, it was pretty. And then again, we get in an overtime and Cap takes a penalty, which was a shame because it was probably his best game of the season. Like, he was really the only forward flying out there. And surprisingly to me, checking the ice time, Matthews played like 23 minutes. Like, he
Yeah,
played
definitely.
a lot of time,
But he played a lot, and
despite not really getting a lot of minutes to the first 2 periods, just because of all the
because of
penalties.
penalty kills, yeah. Like there was like a couple 10-minute area there where Nylander and Matthews didn't get on the ice at all because we took like 3 straight penalties. And then when you're sitting on the bench for like 10, 15 minutes, it throws off your whole game.
Yeah, it's atrocious. And, I mean, another topic I want to bring up really quickly is a lot of people are getting on the Leafs penalty kill. I really don't think it's been that bad. I think when you're a team taking so many back-to-back penalties, it tires out your unit, and they're really just not going to be as effective as they could be if, let's say, you took 3 penalties a game as opposed to 6,
Yeah.
right? I think the system that they have in place has actually been working out really well. They're using their speed. They're actually getting a lot of odd man chances going the other way, which is pretty impressive. I've liked the penalty kill. It's just they've been tired. They've been taking so many penalties. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of people are being really hard on the penalty kill, but I think a lot of people got to understand that I don't think it's just that. I think it's the power play that they got to
Oh
fix.
my God, yeah. They need to capitalize more. I thought without Tavares and having that threat in the slot, it was really ineffective because they were relying too much on their point and generating from there.
Yeah, even the zone entries, like if the team, like I said,
Yeah.
said on the last podcast, if the team does their homework, when they enter the zone, it's completely ineffective.
Yeah, and even once they break into the zone, the threat's only coming from one area, which is, high wings on the point from Marner, Riley, and Matthews. Without having an elite goal scorer like Tavares in the slot to sort of diversify where your options are coming from, teams really only have to cover one area, and they really only have to account for that. And that really made the power play ineffective. But yeah, seeing Tavares on the power play last night, it really wasn't that much better of a unit.
Yeah.
Which I don't really blame him, just because it's his first game back after missing 8 games. But yeah, it's pretty disappointing to have so many weapons and then just be so non-creative with the puck. It's really disappointing to see.
Yeah, maybe we should transition into last night's game then. So
Yeah,
what,
of course.
What do we think of the game last night?
I personally did not think that the Leafs were too much better. I think they were better, but I don't think it was a huge step forward in any means. I mean, when you're playing the Los Angeles Kings, who are bottom 5 in the league, you should be able to run over that team with the speed and talent you got.
Yeah, and this is a team that just got Tavares and just got Muzzin back. This should be an energy kick for them. It should be all right, we're facing the Kings, a team with a 95 PDO. They're a bottom feeder. They're not going anywhere. They're slow. Let's kick them in the butt. And then they really had no sustainable zone time. It seemed like they were fighting for zone entries as well. They were getting hemmed into their own zone at certain points. Too many penalties. They only took 3, but they were still
Same issues as always.
Yeah, it's undisciplined stuff,
That's
right?
one of those games where if you win, it's like, okay, you won, but you were playing the Kings. But then if you lose,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, you lost to the Kings. So really, it's a lose-lose no matter what. But
And it was 2 goals in 30 seconds, which just shows the flashes of the skill that this team has, the immense skill. Like they will burn you on a turnover. I mean, that third goal was a great effort from Willie at the blue line to begin with a stick check.
Yeah.
And then, the puck goes the other way. Matthews, Nylander capitalized on a 2-on-1. But you got to see more of that, right? I find that these players, when they have active sticks and they're on the puck, they're so effective at forechecking and having the puck into the other team's zone and like sustaining a cycle after that. But the effort's just not there throughout the entire game. It's really only in flashes.
yeah,
You guys agree?
yeah, I agree. I mean, also you can't play the Kings every night unless you're at Vancouver Canucks. So our next game is gonna be a lot tougher than that. So we play Vegas next. I'm actually going to that game. That game might already happen by the time you listen to this, but that's gonna be definitely a bigger test of the group overall.
Yeah, I think like when you even go down, what if that goal doesn't happen? Like those 30 seconds, that's a little lucky,
Yeah,
right?
you're probably headed to overtime.
Right. So imagine going to overtime with a team that
Like the
really
LA
you
Kings.
should not be going to
Yeah.
overtime with.
Well, yeah, at least they're winning.
Yeah, I mean
Right?
they'll take the 2 points, right?
But it's concerning. I mean, here's the thing. They win 2 more games. The record's what, 10-5-3?
Yeah.
That's very respectable. However, they haven't played great hockey. Their best game, I want to say, was against Washington in that overtime game, and they lost.
That was I think that was a good hard fought game. I think you had guys like the third and fourth liners were key.
Yeah, well, they're always working out there, like Mikhaev more.
Yeah.
Those guys are just workhorses.
I would actually have to say the most impressed I've been with is Gauthier.
Gauthier has improved a lot this season, and his skating is really, it looks completely different than it has in previous seasons, and it's just because he actually was recovering from an ankle injury.
Yeah.
In the AHL, and then when he got up, I don't think he was fully healthy yet because he's never been a terrible skater, but it's really shown like how much healthier he is now than he was then.
Yeah, I think, and even so in the preseason, you could almost make an argument that he stole Jason Spezza's job, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are really writing Goat off. They weren't really giving him a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see him in the lineup because he's been a face-off king, especially in his own
He
end.
definitely has stuff to add. I was just looking up some of the games we played this year. So even though it's been like not a good start, the Leafs are still on a 98-point pace. And if you exclude the second half of back-to-backs, which I know you can't do, but if you do, we're 8-2-2 in games.
Which
games that Anderson starts, we are
Exactly,
8-2-2. And even though Anderson's save percentage is not good, if you exclude the game against Tampa, he's like a 928.
Yeah, no, his save percentage definitely jumps up a lot after removing that Tampa
this
game.
early, like one 700 game is gonna bring down.
Oh
your
yeah,
save
it
percentage.
ruins your save percentage for like a month. It's tough being a goalie in the NHL.
Yeah.
If you get lit up once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just checking on my stats when we were talking about the power play. The Leafs are currently 20th in the league on the power play.
And this was supposed to be a weapon that they had. It was supposed to be, we are going to burn you with speed, and you're either going to give us the space, or you're going to take a penalty, and then look at our power play. It's lethal. And it really just hasn't been.
Yeah, nothing's been generated at all.
I think we should split up the units again. I don't know. I feel like we're most dangerous when we have 2 units that are firing and good, because Babcock's never going to play one unit for more than a minute. So the second unit is just useless.
Yeah, I mean, the real key weapon on the second unit is William Nylander. An idea that I've seen thrown around a lot, and I would actually like to see, I definitely wouldn't mind it, would be switching up Riley and Barry. Putting Barry on that first power play unit, maybe get him a chance to get some points in, get his confidence up, because I think we all agree Tyson Berry's an incredible offensive defenseman. We haven't seen that in Toronto yet, but he's also spent his whole career in Colorado. Give him some time to adjust.
Yeah.
What would you guys say about that?
I think, Leaf fans are usually pretty harsh sometimes when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I think, we're a month in. You got to give a guy a chance to gain his confidence, right? Like you said, played with Colorado for how many seasons? Like, oh my God, it's been a long time.
Was he 27 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a while.
Six or 7 seasons, yeah.
Right? So I personally think, Leaf fans, take it easy on Tyson Berry. Let him get his stride. Maybe, go on the power play. I'd like to see him jump up there with Matthews and Nylander. So I think hopefully he can get his stride back coming into the middle of the season here.
I mean, he hasn't scored yet, but like he's no Victor Mete, so like he's not like a sniper or anything. So
Yeah. Victor Mete with the 2-goal game last night. He's really blowing up this year. So Tyson Berry has played parts of 8 seasons with the Colorado Avalanche.
Wow.
He's spent quite a lot of time in that system. He's been playing a certain brand of hockey for a while. But we know him to be a 60-point defenseman. I truly think he is that. He's just adjusting. Like, look at Erik Karlsson. He wasn't spectacular when he got on the Sharks, and then throughout the rest of the year, he was a point-per-game pace. Like, he just needed time to get used to the systems, to get used to his teammates. We'll write off this year because, oh my God, the Sharks are so bad.
But I'd argue that Muzzin last year stepped in and was good right away, and yet he had been on the Kings for like 8 years as well.
Yeah, but certain players are different.
I think certain players adjust differently, right?
Like, look at William Nylander coming in last year after missing a significant amount of time. He was, he played well. Puck wasn't going in the back of the net. Austin Matthews, it's a bit of a different situation, but he missed a significant amount of time with injury. First game back against the Sharks, goal and an assist.
Yeah, and
right?
Me and Christian were talking about last podcast how when Matthews is in his only season, he played full 82 games, was his first season, and he put up 40 goals.
Yeah.
And so imagine if he plays every game this year.
And that's his lowest goal per game pace of his career.
Right?
Yeah, every year has been higher than that. So if he's healthy, he's pretty much a lock for 50. Like,
yeah.
Unless he has like a shooting percentage, like
8.
struggle. Like,
yeah. That just plummets.
Yeah. That's the only way he doesn't hit 50 at this point.
Speaking of Austin Matthews, I wanted to bring up a point that he's been pegged as a defensive liability this season. And I think watching him, we can all agree that throughout his career, he really hasn't been that. He's been a guy who you can rely on in the defensive zone. Not exactly an Anze Kopitar or a Patrice Bergeron, but he hasn't been a liability. He's got a great stick, a one-on-one puck battle. You're not taking that away from him. He's getting that puck from you. And this season, I really haven't seen that from him. And I don't know if it's from a lack of effort in his own zone. He's losing his man a lot.
I think it's a motivational issue, maybe coaching or something, because I see that with a lot of players this year. And if something's like persisting with all the players, maybe it's not all the players. Maybe it's the coach.
Yeah, I think Matthews is going 100% one way sometimes, and the other way it's just not showing.
Yeah.
I think offensively we all know how good Austin Matthews is, but
he doesn't have to prove anything
in
the ozone. Yeah, we know how good he is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time you see on TSN or Sportsnet they're talking about is Austin Matthews a 200-foot player. And
lately, no. I think throughout his career, you could say, yeah, he's had a lot of solid back checks. He's very good. Like, he's very fantastic with his stick. He's going to strip that puck from you. But recently, he just hasn't been. And when you're paying a man $11.634 million, you expect him to play like that every night. And that comes with an expectation of both way. Like, two-way, right? It's not just, we know you can score. Show us we can rely on you in the back end as well, because this game isn't just offense.
It really is, and I just really hope that he can. It's not like he needs to get back on his stride, because I don't think he's doing horribly. But you look against other players in the league, and you just wish he was a little better defensively.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we should just move on to the rest of the league now. So, any storylines you guys want to touch on from the rest of the league in the last week?
Ooh, I kind of want to talk about Taylor Hall for a bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so you guys heard his quote, I want to say a week and a half ago about the Devils, how they're getting booed on home ice. Can one of you look that up for me?
Yeah, look.
Yeah, so he brought up, it isn't fun to get booed when, you're like, turn the puck over, you're 1 for 3 on a power play.
Did you hear what Bob McKenzie said yesterday?
No.
He said 25%. There's a 25% chance that Hall finishes the season in New Jersey, meaning 75% chance he's somewhere else.
Yeah, which is pretty exciting. I mean, a team adding a guy like Taylor Hall, that's a former.
It's exciting until it's Boston.
Until it's Boston. Yeah, but I mean, it's really indicative of like this quote of how little players can get away with in the media, because he calls out his fans, and I would say, like, deservedly so. If you're booing your home team, and this was in a game that they were actually neck and neck with Tampa. This was, I believe, the 7-6 or 6-5 overtime game. Like this is a team that's gotten off to an atrocious start, and they're neck and neck with a team who hasn't been fantastic, but it's still the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like look at that roster.
Yeah, I mean, when you even look at coming into the season, you get Jack Hughes and Subban. You're like, oh my God, Jersey's gonna be amazing this year.
Yeah,
to be fair, I didn't think they were going to be amazing. I said they were going to miss the playoffs.
But if we do go back to Taylor Hall, his comments, again, was, we are battling the fans at this point. We're 1 for 3 on the power play, and we're getting booed. It's a tie game, and we're getting booed. And he continued to say that getting booed just sucks. Every time you play on home ice, you want to play well in front of your fans, and that's basically about it.
And he had to defend his quotes again yesterday, saying, like, it's still, I'm just trying to say it's not fun getting booed on home ice, which I think we can all agree with. It's not fun, booing the Maple Leafs when they're here, right? Like,
We love to do that.
Yeah.
we love to do that as a fan base, though. Yeah, no, like, but even the fact that the Devils fans are getting offended, like, guys, you want to keep this guy. What are you doing? Like, everything in your power to keep this absolute superstar of a player on your team. Like a future, line mate with Jack Hughes or Nico Hischier, like two centers you're going to build your team around. You want an all-star winger, and you're kind of driving him out of the city by doing this. And so is the team. Like, what's their record right now? They're off to an atrocious start. Hold on, I'll pull that up for us.
Yeah, they are not doing so well. I don't even know if they have over 6 wins.
They're 4-5-4.
Yay. That's, like, it's not as bad as it was before. Still really bad. That's 4 wins, 9 losses.
But, I mean, they shouldn't expect to be good right away. I said even before the season they should try to sell Hall at the deadline. I don't think it makes sense to re-sign him.
At this point, yeah. At this point, when you're in the position you're not going to make the playoffs.
What would you even get for him? Like, what does that trade even look like?
Oh, you could get a lot for Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
You could get a couple firsts, like
a Stone return, or what do we think?
Yeah, I really do, because Stone provides something different. He's like an elite two-way winger whose takeaway numbers are always amongst the top in the league. But Taylor Hall is a guy who has incredible speed, an unreal shot. Like this guy is a weapon. He's immediately going to be placed on your first line. You give up, I'd say you could probably get 2 firsts and a top value prospect.
So
for him.
who would be the best suitor for that? Like, what team do you think could use him the most and could
use
give
a
the
Taylor
assets?
Hall?
Edmonton.
I'm
joking.
That would be interesting. That would be fun though. That would be a lot of fun.
The only thing about Taylor Hall is I think he's inconsistent. I think he has a good year and then an off year, a good year and then an off year. But
I think that comes from injuries though.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
I'm gonna go with Montreal. Maybe they'd be a good fit for him. They definitely need a player like him. They definitely have the assets to give up.
Do you think it seemed like the Carolina Hurricanes would go after Taylor Hall?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think New Jersey would trade him in the division?
I don't think they care.
You don't think they care?
No, I really think that mentality should disappear from the NHL, if I'm being honest with you. Like, sure, yeah, you have to play that player, but if you send him into free agency, there's still a chance that he's going to sign within the division, right? And I think the idea that, like, the Leafs can't trade with the Habs, it's stupid to me.
No,
like,
but
let them do their business.
There's a difference between trading with a division rival and trading your best player to a division rival.
Like, I think Taylor Hall will stay East, and I actually would argue that he would honestly go to another team that's not doing so well right now. Like, I could see him on, like, Detroit.
Well, what teams like that are already cup contenders can afford him?
I think Montreal.
Because over half the league is technically over the cap right now,
That's what I'm trying to say.
except for Montreal.
Montreal is the best team with the most amount of cap space that could work. Colorado too, but I don't know if Colorado is willing to go all in yet. Montreal, like, Price is getting older, Weber's getting older. They have the prospects. If they're gonna go in, they got to go all in now, and I think that would be a good move.
Yeah, that would be very exciting.
What are the Islanders like? Do they have enough cap? I think
That doesn't seem like an Islanders move, and especially because she's a pending UFA, they don't want to get burned on that again. The Islanders have gone with this philosophy of more than the sum of their parts, and then if you bring in a guy,
only have $4 million cap space.
Yeah, that would not be enough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd send something back. Maybe a guy with like 1 year left on his contract who you're not going to re-sign.
I mean, you only need $6 million to acquire him, and then
Yeah.
if you want to re-sign him, that's a different story. But maybe Vancouver, how's that looking?
I could totally see Taylor Hall in Vancouver.
They don't have their first though, so if maybe like a Podkolzin if you want to like give up him, but I don't know. I think Vancouver should just ride it out.
I would almost argue he would go back to another Canadian team. But I don't.
I don't know about trading Podkolzin, if I'm being honest with you.
I mean,
I listen. Vancouver has a very good record right now. However, everything would suggest that they're going to regress as a hockey team. Like, their PDO is through the roof. They have the league's easiest schedule as of right now. There's a reason they've been successful. I mean, good for them. Like, I hope that they'd at least be in a wild card race. I don't think that they're going to be leading their division by the end of the season.
No, that
or at least in a top 2 spot.
But that division screams like a bunch of mediocre teams battling for.
That division screams, what is the NHL right now? Because
Yeah.
San Jose is at the bottom after, they could have made a cup appearance last year if it weren't for Martin Jones. Like, it's pretty crazy to see teams.
I think anything could happen in that division right now.
And honestly, I think that the Pacific Division is wide open. I mean, look at this. The Calgary Flames have 20 points in the season right now. They're sitting in 5th place.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, the next team I wanted to bring up was Edmonton, obviously, because I don't think what they're doing is sustainable, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, their record right now is 10-4-2. They're currently 5-3-2 in their last 10. So, they're coming down a little bit. That's 5 wins, 5. Like, I keep bringing that up just because I hate the Gary Bettman rule. Like, they're at 500 over their last 10 right now, even though the numbers would suggest that they're not.
I mean, what's like Koskinen's save percentage right now? Like, it's something crazy, and like I don't trust him at all. I don't even think he's like a starter.
I mean,
I think teams like the Oilers, the Sabres, the Canucks, it's fun to see them soar, but they're also at an unsustainable pace. When their schedule would suggest that they're playing very easy teams. There's a reason they have a great record, because sure, maybe the Oilers and the Canucks and the Sabres are better than we thought they were. That doesn't mean that they're a league-leading team. They're playing teams worse than them. They might be a bubble team. They're teams that will be sniffing the wild card around the playoff race. Edmonton was the last of those options that I'd suspect to be in this situation, if I'm being completely honest with you. I know the McDavid and Draisaitl factor is there. I didn't think it would hit this hard.
I think the Canucks are the one team you mentioned there that can actually sustain this somewhat, because I like their team overall. They have like good pieces, and I feel like
they have a young core.
Yeah.
They have,
if Demko can continue, like if Demko can pull like a Carter Hart from last year, which I think he can, I think they're a playoff team because.
Well, he'll still be in a backup role though. Markstrom is their starter.
Been great.
And he's been a really underrated starter over the past couple of seasons. But I mean, they still they acquired JT Miller in a pretty questionable trade to shore up the top 6. But it really didn't scream a team that was cup contender. And I wouldn't even say they are now. It's just if you have a good season, maybe it's like the Toronto Maple Leafs where you finish last, you come out of nowhere, people don't really expect much from you. You make the playoffs. Maybe even go around deep.
Exactly. I think this Vancouver season is the Leafs 16-17 season.
And that's the thing. I think Vancouver, right now, actually, I was just looking up the stats. They are still 4-0-2 at home. So they have not lost in regulation at home yet.
Good for them.
But I do think that Vancouver, to me, they're going to be that team that will fall into the wild card. And then they're going to end up playing. But I don't think... no one can count them out as just a first round knockout. I think they can make it and knock off that first team if they end up in that spot.
I mean,
depending on who they're playing.
We saw last year any team can knock out any team in the playoffs except the Leafs. They can't knock out the Bruins.
Seriously though.
But if you guys are okay, do you guys want to move on to questions, or do you want anything else to add about the league?
I just want to bring up that the Sabres on a 3-game losing streak, and their record's 9-4-2 right now, and they've lost. They're 0-2-1 in their past 3. When can we expect the Sabres to have a sustainable season? When can we expect them to actually be a consistent hockey team? I know this is early, and they got off to an amazing start, and this is only a 3-game sample.
Yeah.
But they're finally getting tested by solid teams, and they're failing.
They need a goalie. I don't trust Hutton. I mean, they have a pretty good prospect in Luukkonen, I think that's his name, in Sudbury. So when he comes up, I think he'll be good. They need to not play Rasmus Ristolainen 20 minutes a night. And then they need some depth. Their second-line center is Middlestat. That's not good enough.
See, I disagree with you on the goalies. I think Hutton for this year, I don't know if he's going to be great for a consistent amount of seasons, but I think for this year he can hold his own. And I think Allmark's a pretty good goalie to back him up.
I don't know. I just feel like Hutton is the kind of guy who's just like, I'll be good for 20 games, and then,
I can see that point as well.
And then he'll regress. And you look at the last 3 games they played: Arizona, Washington, New York Islanders. Those are all teams that are very hot right now. They're very solid. I would say are probably top tier teams in the league as of this moment. Those are tests for your hockey team, and you lose 3-2 in overtime, 6-1, and 1-0. So you're not scoring against them, and you're letting in way too many goals.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out.
At least in one game.
I just want to give a shout out to New York Islanders. They won 10 straight. I mean, I don't like them, but you got to give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, it sucks to see this because, I mean, if you look at that, like, how do you expect this to happen? It really all comes down to coaching. Like, we have to give Barry Trotz his credit.
Best coach in the league, to be honest.
Maybe we need to reevaluate how we perceive teams because, like, all metrics say it's not a good team.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at last season where they have like a 2.6 goals per game, however, they got 2 Vezina caliber goalies, at least in that season, from Lehner and Greiss. And you look at their team save percentage right now, Semyon Varlamov is having an incredible start, and so is Thomas Greiss. They've been incredible, but that's just because the shot quality coming at them isn't that difficult to deal with, just because the Islanders as a team, their defense is incredible.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Like, when I looked at the Islanders team on paper, I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to be one of the worst in the East. I just unbelievable.
Apparently, like, their goalie coach is like really good, and he's been highly touted for a while. So I think that has to do with it too.
Mitch Korn is unbelievable. When he was with the Washington Capitals, that's when Braden Holtby was a Vezina caliber goaltender. He brought up Pekka Rinne as well. Mitch Korn is a super valuable piece to this team. He's worked with, I mean, obviously, I guess he just likes following Barry Trotz because, Nashville, Washington, New York.
I mean, when it's just Leonard, you can be like, oh, Leonard, he had his issues, and now he came back, and it's Greiss. And it goes, oh, okay, Greiss, I didn't expect that. Now it's Varlamov. That's 3 goalies. You can't...
And Holtby as well.
Yeah, I'm saying just in New York. But yeah, Holtby, like...
Yeah, this guy's a wizard.
It's not a coincidence.
We really need to give more credit to Mitch Korn because that man has been... like, him and Trotz as a combo has been fantastic.
Yeah, goalie coaches could go a long way, man. They really lead you to cups.
Another underrated point there before we get to questions, sorry about that for completely derailing this, is team defense is almost more valuable than just having a really good blue line. Yeah, you look at teams like 100%. The Vegas Golden Knights. They got no superstars in the back end. They got Nate Schmidt as their number 1 guy. Or Shea Theodore, if you want to bring up that argument. But they have a team defense. They have forwards who are coming back, who are back checking, like Mark Stone, Paul Stastny, like solid defensive forwards.
That's so valuable.
It's so valuable to have a team defense rather than just a great blue line.
Yeah, you could almost argue that last year Carolina was almost kind of like that, and that's why they were successful.
They also have an incredible blue line on top of
it.
Right.
That's what with Toronto, when everyone says, oh, the blue line's not good enough. Maybe I agree with that, but the team defense is also not good enough. The forwards do not provide enough defense. This is what
is so tantalizing about a guy like Sheldon Keefe. If you watch Marlies games, you see these forwards busting to get back, like on the back check. If defensemen are pinching at the blue line, that forward is already gone. Like, they're already past them, getting back into their own end to prepare to defend for an oncoming forecheck. These are the things that when you watch the Marlies, you're like, God, I wish this kind of coaching was going on with the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I think he makes a priority to make sure his guys are playing good defensively.
The development in the Marlies system has been incredible.
Oh, the Marlies, if anybody's ever watched the Marlies over the last few seasons, they have been a fun team to watch. And it's been great.
Yeah, just shout out to the Marlies. They've been incredible this season. They have yet to lose in regulation.
Yeah, they're 7-0-2-1.
Yeah,
that's pretty incredible.
In 10 games. I mean, and the couple losses they have had, they've blown big leads, but they've still gotten points. But yeah, shout out to them.
Tommy's grumbling. I'm starving.
I think we're on the questions here. So
yeah,
we got about like 5 minutes. We got 6 questions. Let's go a minute each on each question.
Perfect. Yeah, we can even take a bit longer. Let's do it. Let's just go for the questions,
let's
boys.
Do it.
Okay.
All right, what's on the docket? Let's go.
Question 1. What's the most important skill or trait you look for in a player? David, you can go first.
Oh boy, modern day NHL. Skating.
That was mine. You stole it.
Ha. Yeah, I mean, you need to be an incredible skater, like, on your edges as well, but speed is the way this game is moving. You need a lot of that, and that's a very Kyle Dubas way to look at things, just because, that's how he built his hockey team. But, yeah, for me, skating is just an invaluable asset that you can have.
Yeah, I probably would have gone down the route of saying skating as well, but
Can I
because
also say effort?
yeah, effort's a big one.
Because I think the Toronto Maple Leafs would be an incredible team if they had some of that.
Some more effort, yeah.
Some Zach Hyman in their blood.
I'm gonna kind of say probably grit. I think being dirty, getting in the corners,
Ooh,
little
old time hockey.
just a little bit.
Okay.
If you look at, I just want to take the example of Zach Hyman. Look how much better he makes that line.
That's a great point because he's not exactly a tough guy. He's not going to go out there and beat everybody up, but he is a jerk in the corners.
Yeah.
And he will get that puck from you, and he wants it more than you do. And he's just an invaluable piece to this team, and we're really seeing that in his absence.
Exactly.
I'm going to go with vision because if you look at somebody like Marner or even Nylander, they have really good vision. They can spot a player. But then when you see a guy like Kapanen, he has arguably all the skills that they do, but his vision is not there. He'll skate in the zone,
Dead zone.
and he'll look straight. He will not turn his neck. He will look straight and just skate in. There'll be an open guy for a pass, and he will not pass it to him. And that's what stops him from becoming like an elite player, is because he'll never be a guy that can put up a lot of assists.
Kapanen is definitely notorious for streaking into the zone, and with all this speed, can't cut to the net hard enough. He's like, oh, okay, what do I do with it? And then he loses the puck. Okay. So vision is certainly a key piece in developing a player.
Top 5. Who are your top 5 players in the league? Just name them off. It doesn't have to be in order.
Julian, you want to start us off?
Yeah.
I know you're good at being put on the spot with these lists, right?
A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Fantastic.
So if I actually did have to give a 5, I would put 5 Connor McDavid, followed by Carlson. Then, as much as I don't
Carlson?
want, John.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Then 3, as much as I don't want to, Brad Marchand, followed by Pasternak, and then the number 1 player in the league, Leon Draisaitl.
Whoa, wait, you're putting McDavid was your 5.
Yes.
See,
okay, you're saying as of right now?
Is this season?
As of right now.
Okay, if it's this season, that's fair.
Yeah, if it's just this season.
I'm going to go overall. I'm not going to put McDavid at 5. I'm going to put McDavid at 1. I'm going to put Crosby at 2. Even though he's having a down year, I'm going to put Kucherov at 3. Then I might put Bergeron at 4. And then McKinnon at 5. McKinnon or Barkov are tied there. And I'm definitely forgetting someone really good, but that's my list.
That's right. We're being put on the spot. And in no particular order for me, Connor McDavid will always be my number 1, even if he's on like a 3-game point drought, which he's never done before. But yeah, McDavid will never not be my number 1 player. Crosby is always going to be my top 5 until he proves that, he just doesn't have it, which he hasn't shown any signs of yet. David Pasternak has to be in this conversation. That man has 20, how many points is it? 30 points and he didn't even score in his first 2 games.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm so hungry.
I mean, what's the shooting percentage looking there? Because
15 games played, and in 13 of those, he scored 30 points. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then my other 2 of my top 5, I'd probably put Bergeron. I think he's unbelievable. It sucks, man, being a Leaf fan. And just like looking at the Bruins.
You could have just ended it at "It sucks being a Leaf fan."
Yeah, honestly, we can. Well, that's how we can end any of our conversation. It sucks being a Leaf fan.
Always has, always will.
And I guess number 5. I don't know. I'm gonna put Carey Price.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So
I feel like
let's go. Worst contract in the league. I'll start this. Brent Seabrook, 100%.
Yeah, well, when you're not even getting into the lineup and you're getting paid that much, I guess if that argument's going to be brought up, we can put Bobby Ryan into the conversation, not even getting played, and he's getting paid over $7 million.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer. Bobby Ryan's contract is atrocious. I would hate it if he was getting that kind of money on my team. Louis Erickson's also not a good one as well.
Cody Ceci.
See, Bobby Ryan only has 3 years left.
1 year.
Seabrook has 5 years left.
That's fun.
And then there's the obvious like Suter, Parise.
The thing, the reason in a vacuum, Seabrook's contract is terrible, but in the context of hockey history, worth it. 3 cups in 6 years, worth it.
At one point, like you can even go back 3-4 years ago, the guy was considered top 10 defense in the league.
Yeah, he was a great part of that team. He was key in their cup runs. In a vacuum, yeah, terrible contract.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree. I'd take 3 cups if it meant having Cody
the
CC
thing
now.
is
Wow.
that contract was signed after the 3 cups, and you did not need to sign him to that. The window
You kind of needed to though. If from a team perspective, you need to definitely not for that much money, but it's still a bad contract.
It's the term. He was like 30, and you gave him 8 years, and players like Seabrook like decline quickly.
4 cups in 8 years, baby.
I have a new answer.
Yeah.
That's what they were going for.
My new answer is Vlasic. He's 33 years old, and he has 7 years left at $7 million.
Yeah, well, I mean,
still has
some of those
7 years.
are so bad, such bad contracts.
Yeah, San Jose is gonna
Don't
suck
sign
for like
bridge
10
deals.
years.
Hockey teams should not sign bridge deals. They're terrible. All they do is burn you. Look at a guy like Drew Doughty. He's getting paid till he's 40 at over $11 million. Or, sorry, exactly at $11 million. All right, let's go on to the next question.
Let's go. What's the best goalie tandem in the league?
Boston.
Yeah, I mean,
We give so much love to Boston on a league
Let's
podcast.
not all say the same answer. So, David, you're gonna say Boston?
Boston.
Okay, quickly, not of all time, but at the moment, Vancouver.
Okay.
I mean, obviously not of all time, but I'm gonna go Arizona.
Greatest goaltending tandem of all time.
I'm gonna go Arizona. Kemper and Ranta. I mean, Ranta had a pretty poor game last night, but I trust him overall.
Actually, I would say also the Montreal Canadiens. Kincaid and Price is pretty solid.
Yeah, but Kincaid's a little wonky for me.
Yeah?
He's too inconsistent. He was terrible on New Jersey last year. So was everybody, but he wasn't like a redeeming factor.
And that's not really a tandem. When you think of tandem, you think of like 2 guys that play pretty evenly. Montreal have a clear starter.
That's a good point. Very good point.
Okay.
Moving on.
How many 50-goal scorers will we see and name them
In the NHL this year,
this year?
I want to say 3,
Okay.
and they're going to be David Pastrnak, Leon Draisaitl, and Alex Ovechkin. Those are my 3 50-goal scorers.
I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to say Pastrnak,
Yeah.
Draisaitl,
Okay.
Matthews,
Whoa.
and Ovechkin.
And Ovechkin? Yeah.
Okay. That was gonna be my answer, so I'll go with 2. I'll go with Pastrnak and Draisaitl.
And James Neal. What, Christian? What are you saying, man? You're so crazy.
Honestly, maybe
He's going to stay on that goal per game pace.
James Neal is in that 70 goal scoring potential. Come on, boys. We have to take that into
we have to
consideration.
account for that.
Okay, but what about Lucic's penalty minutes though? Like they're pretty much worth the same thing.
Honestly, yeah, it's a trade-off, right? Right, Adam? Right, buddy? You got what you wanted with Milan Lucic.
100%.
Honestly, just keep getting suspended because then he's out of your lineup.
The suspension should have been they had to play him 20 minutes a night for 5 games.
That should be the punishment. That would be such an incredible punishment.
We're just gonna extend the podcast for another 30 minutes, ripping on the Flames.
Yeah, no, let's a whole other segment, just Flames talk. All right, so David Riddick.
By the time we finally have Adam on, he's gonna strangle us all on the show.
Yeah, worth it.
That'll be a fun
He
podcast.
can't
Make sure to
defend
tune
himself now. Yeah, let's move on. Do we have any more questions?
We have one more, I guess. It's kind of a long one, so I don't know if we want to get into it here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hypothetical McDavid trade one. Do we really want to talk about that?
Maybe we should say that for the next show.
I think we should just all say, anytime you trade Connor McDavid, you're probably going to lose the trade.
Yeah,
Unless you're getting back the entire roster of another team,
Seriously.
you're probably going to lose the trade.
If I'm Edmonton, you want that guy locked up for life.
But
Yeah.
what if he wants to leave? I mean, this is more of a question that made sense
You
a couple
tell him
weeks
no.
ago.
Give him $30 million. I don't care, man.
As a GM, if McDavid's like, I want out, I just say no. I say no, you're going to play for a hockey team.
Okay, I think we're good here.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thanks. It's fun to actually be the 3 of us now with this podcast. You know, obviously we got off to a bit of a rocky start with some technical difficulties. Then I had Rams Live to go to. But, you know, it was really cool getting all 3 of us in here, and I'm excited to do this weekly. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Above the Ice Into the Numbers. We have been David, Julian, and Christian. Happy to be here. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you.